What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today I've got wonderful news. You see, ladies and gentlemen, I told you that there were going to be pre-releases for BT4 Great Legend. I told you that Bandai had told us that was a thing, and that it was happening. I told you that there were likely to be promos or things of that nature, but I told you that I could not actually give you any information about them because we just didn't know. By now you can probably see where I'm going with this, right? Because Bandai have gone and told us all about these pre-releases for BT4 Great Legend, and ladies and gentlemen, they are awesome, and I am absolutely delighted. So, starting off then, well, okay, let's just go through it nice and quickly, alright? Everyone who turns up gets a Pulsemon. Now, there are going to be basically 8 people worth of support for each store, so do make sure you get in touch with your local store to let them know that you're coming. They happen between the 4th and 10th of June 2021. That is starting in just under a couple of months' time. And everyone who turns up gets a Pulsemon. Everyone who turns up gets a Great Legend pre-release pack. And the winner of the pre-release gets a silver foil parallel design Magna Angemon. This is a reprint of the Magna Angemon from the starter deck. We'll get there in a moment. That sounds cool, right? I am 100% absolutely going to be going to these pre-releases. The lovely folks over at Mad for Miniatures, I'm hoping are going to be running them. If they do, I will be there. If anyone else wants to be there, come say hi. It'll be awesome. If they're not, I will have to find somebody else who is. Although do remember, pre-releases might not be running. If they aren't running, then you can basically just give them to local players for purchasing product, etc. Digimon have actually come out and said that if you're unable to run the event because of the current coronavirus pandemic, you may provide promotional materials, that's the promo card and packs, to players as a purchase incentive when a player purchases product to the value of your standard tournament entry fee. We ask you to report your events with 0 players in attendance in this situation. So if you can't run a tournament, you are supposed to essentially report a 0-person tournament and give these out as purchase incentives to your local players. They buy Digimon stuff, you give them this. If my local store isn't running a pre-release, I will happily buy a bunch of Digimon stuff to get these promos. They are awesome. So starting off with Pulsemon then, what is super interesting? We talked about Pulsemon a bit on this channel, because Pulsemon has been super interesting. Originally, the only way to get Pulsemon was to buy this fancy V-bracelet thing over in Japan, and that would get you a promo. They have since been running a bunch of things whereby you can go to tournaments, etc., and going to these tournaments will get you an alternate art Pulsemon. What I find very interesting here is that we are getting the V-bracelet art of Pulsemon. So we're not getting the one that the Japanese players got from attending tournaments. We are getting the one they got from buying the bracelet, which is awesome, and I love this, because I was worried that actually we wouldn't be able to get this, that it wouldn't be possible. So this is really cool. How we get any other artwork of Pulsemon, I don't know, but come on, Bandai are being pretty good to us. We will find out eventually. And to be honest with you, right, this Pulsemon is awesome. It's a free cost level 3, very standard. When you play it, if you've got 3 or more security cards, you draw 1. If you've got 3 or fewer security cards, you gain 1 memory. Yes, that does mean that if you have got exactly 3 security remaining, you both draw a card and gain a memory. So if you've got 3 or more security, it's basically Gabumon with extra power, and Gabumon sees a bunch of play. If you've got 3 or less security, it's basically Elecmon, one of those 2 cost to play cards, albeit with slightly less power. But if you've got 3 cards remaining, bearing in mind Yellow love recovery, so they can often manipulate it so they do have exactly 3 security cards remaining, it's a 2 cost to play normally, and you get to draw yourself a card at the same time. It is a great card that a lot of people are going to want to play in yellow decks. So I am absolutely delighted about this. Now, as for this Great Legend pre-release pack, this is super interesting because you get 2 random cards out of 56. That's right, 2 out of 56. Because it turns out, essentially, it is every possible uncommon and rare card stamped as a pre-release card. And I do mean every possible one. Remember that what we've got here is 30 uncommon and 26 rares. I am using the information from the Japanese release. That's why the release date says December 18th, 2020. But it's the same thing, right? It's exactly the same ratio, so we are good to go. So every rare and every uncommon is available as a stamped pre-release promo. Now, there are 2 ways to look at this, and as far as I'm concerned, one of them is wrong. The wrong way to look at this, and this is my personal opinion, but the wrong way to look at this is, oh my goodness, there's 56 stamped pre-release cards. That is going to be a nightmare to collect. Cheers, Bandai. Bandai messed up again. Because every store is only actually getting 8 of these. Which means even if you manage to snag all 8 from a store, and I really hope nobody does, because if you're snagging all 8 from one store, then that does not leave many for other people. That is not a good thing. I am not in favor. But even if somebody did, they would only have 18 of the 56, which is 29% of the stamped pre-release promos. Yes, this is going to be pretty much a nightmare for collectors. But if you want to be a serious collector, then things like this are going to be awkward. I'm sorry about that. But these are, as I like to phrase it, the definition of inessential. If you want to collect these, then sure, yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, and you're going to have to be going to eBay and going to a bunch of local stores and trading with players and paying for them, and you know what? That's pretty much the nature of collecting. But if you cannot make a pre-release for whatever reason, these are just stamped rare and uncommon cards. You do not, in any way, shape or form, need these cards. They are the very definition of luxury, and I am into it. I think this is really, really cool. Now, obviously, we've all got our favourites here. We've all got the ones we particularly want to draw. Obviously, I am a green player by heart. I think I've made that pretty clear over here. But I'm not sure how many of the uncommons and rares from green that are in BT4 I'm particularly hyped about, if I'm honest with you. You know, I'm super hyped about Nidogmon, but I'm not getting a pre-release Nidogmon. That is a super rare. I suppose if I look through the set, the one I would probably want the most is Commandramon, because I like the idea of making a Commandramon D-Brigade deck. So that would be kind of cool. So maybe that one. But the point is, there's just so many cool things. Oh, Roachmon, there we go. I forgot Roachmon's actually really cheap in terms of playing it. 3 cost to play normally, 1 cost to Digivolve level 4. So yeah, probably Roachmon and Commandramon. They would be the 2 that if I got a choice, I would go for. And maybe I'll try and trade what I do get for them. Maybe I'll try and pick them up on eBay. I don't really know. I just love this. I think this is a great, great choice. One of the things that turned me off the Digimon TCG was promos that were difficult to get. Digimon is doing such a better job. Now, if you take what I've just said, some of you might turn around and go, well, hang on a second, we'll see Pulsemon. And yeah, fine, Pulsemon. Having said that, Pulsemon has already been released in 3 different ways over in Japan. We've got the other art of Pulsemon, which is probably going to be released at some point. And every single person that turns up to every single pre-release is going to get a Pulsemon. This isn't like Dragon Ball where you've got like a 1 in 4 chance of getting the card you want, and then you've got to go and try and find a playset. If you go to a pre-release, you will get a Pulsemon. And not everyone out there wants to play yellow, so these cards are going to be around. Now, the winner of the pre-release gets a silver foil parallel design Magna Rangermon. It's just an alternate art foil Magna Rangermon, which is very, very cool. Now again, this is a completely inessential card. You don't need it. It is just a reprint of the Magna Rangermon from the starter deck. So you can go and buy yourself the starter deck and you will have this card. You do not need this card. But it's very, very cool. The one thing that does make me ever so slightly nervous about this is prizes for pre-releases. Back in the day for Pokemon, they would actually do this, where you would get a booster box for winning a pre-release. And the reason they stopped doing it was because a group of players would turn up and they would all just sit off in one corner and one of them would end up making a really good deck from everyone's pre-release packs and then they would just win. I hope we don't see similar things here. Certainly when I go to pre-releases, I'm going to be looking out for it. So if you go to my pre-release, don't try doing this. I will spot it and I'll be honest, I'll tell on you. I will tell on you because I want to win this Magna Angemon. But it is a risk inherent in pre-releases. What is almost certainly going to happen is you get a bunch of packs and you make a deck from those packs. It hasn't actually been said, but that's generally what tends to happen. And then you go and do a tournament with those decks. Do it honestly. It's just one promo card. You'll be fine, ladies and gentlemen. Frankly, I am delighted. I think this is wonderful, wonderful news. I love that we are getting these stamped pre-release promos. I love that we are getting Pulsemon, and I love that we've got this special card if you go ahead and do a win. I think this is wonderful news. Get in touch with your local store, make sure they're running this, and if they are, for the love of all that is good and holy, turn up, join in. Because this is how we keep these pre-release tournaments going. We didn't have pre-releases for 1.0 or 1.5, so let's really take advantage of them now that we've got them. I am delighted. This is pretty much some of the best news we've had Digimon-wise, and we've had a lot of big news in the last few days. There have been lots of videos where I've been saying, big news, but it has been big news. I'm sorry, it's true. But this is some of my favourite news since the game was announced to be coming in English, and that is absolutely wonderful. But I want to know what you think about all of this, ladies and gentlemen. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.